Okay, can I ask you what your definition of faith is?
So in the biblical text, there's a corollary between what's called grace, or what we often look at as grace, and faith. Faith is the word pistis or pistuo, which is often a hope, but is more often translated as allegiance. So allegiance to a specific principle. So in Paul's writings, for example, there's a corollary between grace, which is charis, which is an unmerited favor that's given to somebody. So there was a what they called a patron-client relationship that Paul was often um, referencing. So in a lot of his writings, he would talk about we receive the charis, which is the grace, from our patron, who is God, as a result of our allegiance. So our active obedience, faith, diligence, whatever you want to call it, but we give to them allegiance to the patron. So in the ancient world, oftentimes somebody would be supported in an endeavor by a patron, and so they were the client of the patron. And in that relationship in the ancient world, you had, so for example, Leonardo da Vinci was in a patron client relationship with the people who supported his art. They would People would just allow him the freedom to invent and to think and to create and to philosophize. And then as he did that, they would support him because they enjoyed and appreciated the fruit of his works. But in that relationship, he's not being paid wages for the work that he's doing. Rather, he is being supported because he is producing something that is pleasing to the patron. But he's not paying the patron back. So it's not like I commissioned a painting and you get money. It was more of a situation where I like what you do and I am going to bestow upon you a benefit, and I want to endow you with the opportunity and the ability to do something. And in response to that, you will do better at it. You will continue to engage and strive in that relationship. And from a religious perspective, it would be God gives to us grace, or a capacity to be righteous. We can become righteous through God's grace, which is made available to us through Christ. But that means we have to avail ourselves of that grace, meaning we have to utilize it. And the way in which we utilize it is by obedience to God. So we're not paying God back for the grace as a result of our obedience. We are demonstrating allegiance to God by witnessing of Christ, for example. So when I stand as a witness of Christ, I am demonstrating my allegiance to Christ, and I am showing faith, or that allegiance to him in the process of doing that. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Okay. So
But
what's the
but you're
difference
you're talking
between
about you're talking about faith as a way of knowing more, and that's